Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today we have a very special review impressions of a knife that I had a chance to check out. This is the Grimsmo, I have the case right here, Grimsmo Knives. It's a nice Nanook case, by the way. And this is right here, if you wanted to see. I actually have all the original documentation, which I think would be best way to kind of really talk about the knife here. This right here is number 2707, sorry, the Rask. So this particular stone-washed, streamlined bronze with blue bronze fade anodized accents. Hardware color is blue. It's got ceramic bearings. Made March 26, 2024. So it's a pretty new Grimsmo here, made by John Grimsmo himself, who is the designer. It's the Rask. This is a handmade custom knife. I would call this, I mean, some people call it mid-tech because it's still CNC'd. But I don't know. I disagree with that. I think this is a custom knife. So, you know, if you have to go out there and get an anvil and have your own little fire with coal and, you know, be out there in the woods, some rugged whatever hammer and make it all hand forged, I mean, okay, whatever. But that's, I disagree with you. This here is a nice custom mid-tech knife. It is the Rask beautiful, beautiful knife, RWL 34 blade steel, if you want to talk about that. It is fantastically done on bearings, super, super smooth. It does have a steel bar insert, which is pretty amazing. It has a nice hidden hardware with the screws hidden inside. Titanium clip, this bronze anodized. It feels like it almost has sort of a blue accent to it, which I think is gorgeous. Captive pivot, beautifully designed there. I love the anodization back there. The screws with the standoffs are fantastic. Even inside, it's a little detail. I don't know if you can see that, but the screw that holds the over travel stop is anodized the same way. The screw that holds the deep pocket carry clip is anodized the same way. It's beautifully stone washed right here, but it's kind of semi-polished. Not super polished, but definitely has a nice little sort of polish on there. So that's pretty gorgeous. Pretty thin blade. We'll go do some measurements once we're done. Minimal hardware, beautiful, beautiful texture all the way around. I will tell you that the materials, it is a frame lock, has a beautiful, it's a ceramic ball, believe it or not. This is a ceramic ball, but it's not your traditional ceramic ball. This is more like a ceramic ball that's got a rounded top to it, or flat top to it. At least that's the way it seems to me when I looked in there. The engagement on this is a good 30, maybe 40% on there. It opens and closes with the flipper, but there's like no, I don't want to call it drop shut, but it feels like once I start to close it, it feels like it accelerates. Like it's like I'm gonna get the heck out of Dodge, sort of like, I don't get it. It's like, I don't want to be open. I'm going to close. That's how it feels like it closes. It closes so fast. I've had guillotine. This is like guillotine with acceleration. I don't know. It's interesting, but it's so accelerated. If you notice, it does have a bounce. So when you close that lock bar, if you can see that lock bar doesn't always close. It takes a bounce, it comes in and bounces out. So that to me is probably, I'm going to say, a little bit too much, you know, droppy, shutty for me. It's not my knife. I've been loaned this knife, as generous as this person is. Allow me to look at it. And I appreciate that. I do appreciate that, because it's a beautiful knife. I mean, there's no doubt that I like this design. This is very similar, if you will. I had a Herman Sting, and I thought that was pretty similar. I also currently have a Trevor Burger Dakar. Okay, if you look at, there's some similarities in blade shape. I mean, they're very uniquely different, right? But there's some similarities. You can see that beautiful blade shape, and ironically, one of the other blade shapes that I think it looks a lot like. Let me grab that real quick. And I mean, they're very different type of knives, but I think it's worth mentioning, is also the TRM Atom. So, I mean, there's some similarity in some ways, but you can almost say, is it a copy? No, every knife has some very similar similarities, and that's just the way it is, right? So, I think the TRM Atom is completely different. I think the Trevor Burger Custom Dakar is absolutely different, and I think the Grimsmo Knives Rask is very different. I will say I like how rounded everything is. Notice a lot of details in chamfering, which I think is fantastic. Rounded, fully rounded right there, which is a beautiful touch. The blade is dead nut centered. I thought when I first got it, it was a little off. And then with a little bit of handling, it seems like it's absolutely dead nut centered. So I don't know if it's because of the liner lock. I don't know if it's because of the frame lock. But I will say that it is centered, but sometimes it feels like it might be over this way. I don't think it is. I think it's more me my eyes playing tricks on me. But man, I mean, when it closes fast. And even closing it like at this speed right here, I mean, look at this. This is how most knives close when you drop them from the top, right? And I mean, it's like at a 45-degree angle. You almost have to kind of do that so it doesn't go as fast, which I find very interesting. And I think all Grimsmo knives are like that, from what I understand. I know the really weird shaped blade one is similar to that. It's a cool knife, I will tell you that. It's a very high quality, very well made knife. Feels really fantastic. This part right here, this trigger guard is beautifully rounded. I mean, it's crowned perfectly, right? Beautifully rounded right there. It's got a pretty flat back, which is great for holding it and everything. But when you close it, you know, the flipper, this part is all around it, but this has a couple of jimps there. I wish there was one more jimp right up there, because you can see that there's just two. So you have to get your hand in there for that to work. Now, can you do a push button? You can. You can definitely do the push button. But it's a little more comfortable without the jimping on top. So the best is just kind of like the light switch, I think works. No blade rock. It's in there nice and solid. No blade play. No pivot play. It clicks in there, but it's a very light click if you notice. It's not a super loud click. I don't know if you can hear that. I'll get the mic close. But once it's in there, it's definitely a nice, it results in a nice crisp deployment, if you will, an actuation to open it. It locks in when you open it. Can I fail it? No, you see, I had the same issue during the unboxing. If I get my finger in the way, my finger will catch, and that's what causes the fail. But as long as my finger is clear, I can't fail this. Every time I do that, it's the detent is crisp enough, it flies out. So that's pretty cool. The milling inside is absolutely fantastic. I don't know if you can see that. Beautiful milling inside on both sides, very, very light. The balance of the knife is right there, so this feels very balanced here. I mean, you can choke up, can do a pinch grip, I think, all day long. I mean, it seems to me this would follow in Tri-State EDC's version of all day long. Yeah, lefty CDC, dead nut centered, you know, all those good things. I love what they say. I love the clip here. The clip is really nice and solid. It's beautifully rounded, no sharp edges. Everything is fantastic up here. I mean, look at this. Beautifully chamfered, and then the cutaway right there, which I think is fantastic. The cutaway really gives you a nice place to present here. I mean, this comes up, but it's nicely rounded, so it feels comfortable. Some people have a square edge. That's uncomfortable. And look at that. Even, I don't know if you can see that, even the roundedness right there, everything is chamfered, so you get in there, you get a nice presentation. It's a pretty thin knife, but it's wide enough that I feel like I get a good grip on here. So that's nice. That's nice. So we talked a little bit about the designer. We talked about the manufacturer. I mean, they custom made in-house with Grimsmo knives, right? We talked about the materials, RWL34, which if you're not familiar, it's kind of like an LMAX, a really good version, 154 CPM 154 or LMAX. So it's a good steel. It's a good steel. I like it. RW34 is also one of the core properties in Dama steel, which is a fantastic Damascus steel. Talked about how it opens. We talked about how it closes. The blade shape, beautiful flat grind. That works really nicely. Feels like it's going to be quite a bit of a slicer coming down here. The edge does feel pretty sharp. It does come to a nice thin pokey tip. Get into your dog food, cat food, mulch, fertilizer, cases of water, your Amazon boxes, whatever else you want to get into is nice. Comes to the tip. You can see that edge. It looks like it's nice polished edge. Looks like it's probably got it. I'm going to guess that looks like maybe a 20-25 degree angle on there. I know it's thin. I don't think that's a hollow grind. Hold on. It sure feels like a flat grind. If it's a hollow grind, it's very, very, very faint. But it sure feels like a flat grind to me. Flat grind. All right, so that's the blade. Let's do some measurements. Let's see how much this little puppy weighs. got dust on there. All right, so 3.1 ounces, which is phenomenal. Definitely, is in a good ratios there, because the blade, its shape, we're about to measure it, but the blade itself, I think, is definitely 3.1 inches. So overall, the length is a little over 8 inches, it looks like to me. So we are right at, I'm gonna say eight, and I don't think it's a 1/16. Maybe it's 1/16. 8 1/16, maybe, yeah, 8 1/16 of an inch, right? Your overall length for where your hand can grip is about 4 inches exactly. If you were to choke up, you definitely have about 4 3/4 to 4 7/8 of an inch. The overall cutting length, if we're going to measure the blade here, we're looking exactly 3.5 inches from the tip to the handle. The actual cutting length is going to be about 3 1/4. So I mean, it's not a gigantic knife, but it's a fairly good sized knife. So now let's measure that blade stock thickness. So obviously you can tell it's pretty consistent here, but it tapers off at the edge. So let's go measure how far that tapers off. So 128 thousandths of an inch. So 0.128 or 0.13 inches. So, you know, it's a fairly average size thickness of a blade, but it does come down pretty thin here at the end. All right, so what knife category does it fall into? Well, depending on which one you get, they all fall into the custom mid-deck, okay, because they're greater than $600. Matter of fact, it's over $1,000 right now. I believe every one of these runs around $1,000. Maybe you might get lucky on the secondary market and get it under $800-900, but I mean, these are not cheap knives, right? These are expensive knives, just like, you know, a Trevor Burger is an expensive knife, just like a Holt Blade Works is expensive. This is definitely an expensive knife. And people buy these because this is what they want, right? This is a knife that people pursue, like a Grail knife. So definitely a custom mid-tech. So is the purpose EDC hard use collection piece? Well, I would say for most people, this is going to be a collection piece. Now, if you're like me, every piece I collect, I carry. Anything I own in my collection, I carry. And that includes, if I had a Grimsmo, I carry that. I can carry my Trevor Burger, I carry my Koenig. Now, will I go out and cut weeds and things in the yard with it? I will absolutely not do that, right? But I will have a 5th pocket knife that I'll probably use that for. But I would so carry this knife if this was mine, if this is something I wanted to have in my collection. I really, you know, not every knife is for every person. I get the appeal. I get the quality. I get everything about it. I think it's pretty stinking cool. So, but you could definitely EDC this. And you could also probably hard use it, but you know, that's up to you. If this is a knife you would hard use, I don't know if this falls into that category. So what about the overall design? What are my thoughts on the overall design? I think the way the handles are made is beautiful. It's very thin, but it's very beautiful. It's reminiscent of my TRM in the handle thickness, right? It's reminiscent in the action of my Holt Blade Works. I mean, this one's a little, looser, smoother, faster, whatever, guillotine-ish than my Holt Blade Works. So opening and closing is pretty nice. It's very crisp, very solid. Now, you have one deployment method. I don't think I could even open this with my fingers here. No, this is a single deployment method. It's absolutely almost a hidden blade. So you have one deployment method. So it does it well. It absolutely does it well. So absolutely does a nice job. There's no lanyard clip or loop or pin or anything. So that's off the thing, the mill deep pocket carry clip, which gets you almost complete hiddenness. I mean, that's a really deep pocket carry. It's nice. It's done well. Matches the entire theme and texture and look of the entire knife. I like that. I like that a lot. I think it's great. The jimping on this thing, there's really no jimping except for right here in the flipper. I do wish it was a little, would go out one more little, cut into the flipper here. I think that would be nice for flipping, so you're not going to slip off of there, which I felt like a couple times I might have, right? So that's cool. I will say open and closes really, really well. The open and closing feel of it is very guillotine, very smooth. There's no weirdness. It's in there solid. So I mean, the fact that it has this crazy, super smooth closing is kind of ridiculous, right? So what's the fidget factor on this? The best I can give is a 2.5. If you execute your one thing, your flipper really well, the best I can give is 2.5. I'm going to give it a 2. And the reason why I took a 0.5 point off is because I really feel like it's missing an extra level of jimping right there. If you're going to be a flipper, make this perfect. I mean, this is great. Don't get me wrong. It is fantastic. I mean, even Trevor Berger, he has no jimping on his. I mean, he does have a little kind of a loop that's very reminiscent of Herman knives, but it works. It's not crazy steep. This one's a little, this one you could fail. If you go a little high, there's a couple times, and if you're happen to get on here, I do fall off, and it kind of digs into you. So I'm going to give it a 2. That's the best. I would say the fidget factor scale is going to be 2 out of 10. Now, fidgety goodness. How is the fidgety goodness? It flips well. It's very satisfying when you deploy it. It feels really nice. It's a solid deployment. I will say that. So that's pretty satisfying. I like that a lot. It's definitely, I can't give it 100. And the reason why I just can't is because there's jimping is missing there. The other one is it does bounce when it closes. It doesn't always seem to close. So I feel like this is, it's going to be an 85 or 90, and I'm not sure. I'm going to give it an 85, a solid B+, maybe an 88. I'll give it a B+. A B+. It's good. It's not absolutely fantastic, but it's really good. So I like that. I like that, and I think there's a lot of positive there. And if Grimsmo knives is one of your Grail knives, I don't think you go wrong with it. I definitely get the appeal, and I see it. So it's pretty cool. So I'm going to give it 85 overall for fidgety goodness. So what are my overall thoughts, my final thoughts? Is it recommended? Yeah, I'd say it's a recommended. Now, this is going to be recommended to those who like this knife. If you're not willing to spend the $1,000, $1,100, $1,200, $1,300, $1,500 on a knife like this, then this may not be for you. I don't recommend it for you. I suggest maybe you consider another knife, right? But if this is within your budget, it's something you would like to get, this is kind of a Grail knife for you, I definitely think this is worth considering, right? I think there's a lot to be said for it. I mean, there's just nothing but good things. I mean, it's really well made. There's no question. Everything's great. Action works good together. I think the RWL34 steel is fairly sharp, which is nice. So all that stuff to me is very good, very positive. So yeah, those are my overall thoughts. I'm curious what your thoughts are on the knife. Very appreciative to the fact that I had a chance to check this out. This is one of those knives I would not have had a chance to check out. And just so, for you guys out there, if you're thinking like, what hard use did you do? I'm not doing cut tests. I'm not doing hard use on a knife like this. You collect these pieces because, these are your opening dog food, cat food, fertilizer, mulch. Now, if that's your desire to do, go for it, with your own money, with your own knife. I don't own this knife. So quite frankly, this is not something you're going to see me do, because I don't own a knife. I mean, this is not my knife. I'm very appreciative. I always have a very strong policy that I just don't do anything like that to a really nice Grail knife. And this definitely falls within that. And I want to be respectful of that. I get the feel for how it is. I get a feel for the action. I get a feel for the close, all that stuff. I get a feel for the number of ways to deploy. This tells me whether I'm going to like this knife or not. Right? I feel it's pretty solid in there. There's no blade play. This feels locked up. Doesn't feel like it's going to fail or anything like that. So I really do enjoy all of that. And so, yeah, it's recommended. It's recommended for a lot of good reasons. And I get it. I get that it's a good knife. And I know for some people it's a great knife. And it's maybe your only knife in your collection. I get it. But, for me, it doesn't draw me in. I don't know what's distinctive about it. I have a little, this feels a little more crisp. I don't know if it's this up here, which kind of reminds me of the RWB, the Luft Concepts ones, right? So there's like a very unique blade shape to that one. So in a way, I do like the very unique blade shape of this. And for that reason, that appeals to me. But this blade shape is not something I go out of my way and go, ooh, that's amazing. So doesn't mean I don't recommend it. Doesn't mean I don't like it. Wouldn't mean that I wouldn't turn it down if I was given a chance to be given the knife for my collection, or if I, let's say I found an incredibly crazy, ridiculous deal. Someone wanted to get rid of it and they're willing to extend it to me. Yeah, I'd probably buy it. I would. It would be enjoyable, for sure. But it's not one of those absolute Grail knives. I mean, right now, There's a few knives I would love to get. I want to get the Cortex, with the Brown Knives Cortex. That's one of those knives I very, very much would like to get my hands on. I'd like to get a hold of the Lamia. Really would like to get a hold of one of those. That's another one of those knives that's very much I would love to have in my collection. But there's more, right? But those are some of the two most popular knives right now that I have found the most interest in, and I found the most. I've enjoyed their look and their aesthetics and everything. It's something I think I would appreciate in my collection, but not this one here. I'm glad it's a loaner. I'm glad I got a chance to handle and experience this before maybe an opportunity to buy it came up, because I think I would wait. I think I would absolutely wait. It's definitely beautiful, but to me it doesn't have that special extra that I'm looking for, the secret sauce that I think is valuable. And I don't mean that like it's not valuable, it's just what I find super enjoyable. So, all right, that's my thoughts. I don't know why I put the card off, because I'm about to wrap it up. Hey, if you found this content fun, interesting, or worthwhile, would you please consider hitting the like button down below? And if you've already hit that like button, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button. Subscribing and liking the videos really helps out the channel, allows me to produce more content, do more things, ultimately do more things for you guys. So thank you to everyone who watches, who likes and subscribes. I sure appreciate you guys. If you haven't already, maybe if you haven't had a chance and you haven't already, would you maybe consider hitting the notification button down below as well? I sure would appreciate that. And for all of you who are channel members, a big, huge shout out. Thank you to you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so very much. And if you're interested in being a channel member, there is a link down in the description on how to be a channel member. I have 3 different tiers. It doesn't matter what tier you're in. If you are a channel member, my small way of saying thank you is that you will be entered into the giveaway. I will definitely be providing my if you become a channel member, you would be eligible. Okay, so let's start that over. All right, a big thank you to all my channel members. A big thank you to all my channel members out there. I really do appreciate you, and thank you so much for supporting the channel. If you've been interested in becoming a channel member, maybe check out the description down below. I would love to have you. I have 3 different tiers, so whatever level you want to be. I don't ever want anybody ever to feel obligated to become a channel member. I would love for you to be a channel member. I'd be appreciative of that, but I don't want anybody to ever feel obligated. If you just enjoy watching the different things within the channel, you enjoy the content, you enjoy the live streams, thank you to every one of you guys out there. But if you would like to support the channel, I would be honored, super honored. It also would allow you to enter the monthly members giveaway. I try to make that very special. Right now people have been very generous, a lot of members, so I make sure the monthly members giveaway is something really cool. All right. Also, all brand new channel members. And if you've been a channel member for a while and you haven't emailed me, email me with your name and address. I would love to email you a Rob's Nerdy Knives sticker. Try to provide one for everybody who's a brand new channel member, or if you've been a channel member for a while, you just haven't reached out to me yet and you've never gotten a sticker, and you're still a channel member right now, I would love to send you that channel member sticker. And if you happen to have gotten in as an Uber nerd, there's a special exclusive channel sticker for you on that one as well. So I'd love to send that to you. Just make sure you let me know that you're an Uber nerd. I have a way to verify that, but just if you would let me know. So thank you so much. Hey, if you haven't already, check me out on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day and a great week. Bye.